Welcome to our channel GNP Educare. Today we are going to learn off-grid connected system with the bill of materials. So in today's class we are only concentrating on the off-grid system. That is, our system will be not connected to the grid and will be only battery oriented, right? So in this class, we are going to learn what are the major components of an off-grid system, how to do the calculation, like what are the inputs we would require for the designing part, and how to prepare a BOM, right? So that we can put all the inputs in the PVSYST of the next class and do the design of an off-grid system through using PVSYST. So for that reason, first we are going to need to do the site survey. So let us understand how we need to do the site survey.
The very first thing that we would require for the design is the load calculation. In this case, we need to go to the house of the customer. The roof analysis would be same. How rigid is the roof? What is the azimuth? What is the tilt angle? So on and so forth. Like the roof orientation, the roof analysis, that is how rigid is the roof. That is, if we are talking about the LBC, load bearing capacity, the roof analysis would be same even if you are going for a off-grid customer's house. So the first would be our LBC. We need to go to the customer, we need to ask for the LBC, the load bearing capacity, or we need to check it ourselves how old the customer's roof is. Next is the type of the roof, whether it's an RCC or a tin shed roof, whether we are talking about a RCC roof or we are talking about a tin shed roof. Here, next we need to ask the latitude, longitude and altitude, or in separate word, height of the roof for the customer. First the LBC, next the roof type, and next latitude, longitude and height. Latitude will basically help us giving the tilt angle, and height will help us in giving the altitude. Lastly, we need to understand or ask the customer about, not the customer, we need to do the analysis ourselves for the azimuth angle. So the roof analysis, even in case of off-grid plant, is same, fine, but here we don't require customers' electricity bill because we have nothing concerned with what is the customer consuming. We only need the load analysis. We don't require the bill for the customer for a rooftop design, like an off-grid rooftop design, right? So the first part, as we discussed, it will be a roof analysis part. The part that we need to do is the off-grid load analysis. Why I'm telling us off-grid load analysis? Because we don't require what exact loads the customer is using, right? What we require is what load we need to give for off-grid. So the next part will be our off-grid load analysis. Fine. Let me refresh. So the next part we are going to do is the off-grid load analysis. That is nothing but we need to ask the customer what exact loads the customer is going to use for with the off-grid system. That for what load it requires a backup from solar. So let us write the load, the wattage of the load. From here we will get the total wattage, TW. Next is how many hours the customer is using. So we will have the total watt hour. Okay. What we'll do is that we will note it down so that we can use the same design for doing our analysis in PVSYST, right? So let me bring up pen paper. We are taking tube light, or I am writing as light load of 20 watt. Sorry, we also need to take the number. So we are taking 4 numbers tube light of 20 watt, and let's say it operates for nearly 18 hours a day. Okay. Next we are taking a fan load, 2 fans of 100 watt, and let's say it operates nearly 20 hours a day. Next is TV. Let's say we have one TV of 100 watt and it operates nearly 10 hours a day. We have a refrigerator 1 of 200 watt which operates nearly 12 hours a day. And we have another computer of 100 watt which operates nearly 6 hours a day. Now we need to do the calculation. TW will be number into watt and our TWH will be TW into H. So it will be 80, 200, 200, 200. Sorry, it will be 100 as 1 TB and 100. So it will give us 600, 2400, 1000, 4000. And 1440. Now once we add it, we are going to get the total watt hour is 9440 and the total wattage is 400, 600, 680. So the total wattage is 680 and the total watt hour is 9440. I hope still now we have no problem. Arijit, I would request you to take the screenshot. This is the off-grid load analysis. So the total wattage we have got is 640 and the total watt hour we have got is 9440. One thing we need to understand, while doing a manual calculation, there is a chance of a little bit error. Why? Because in case of manual calculation, we can't adjust the load distribution. Like if the major part of the load is running during the sunlight hours, the battery backup will obviously be lesser. But if it is running in the night hours when there is no sunlight, the battery backup will obviously be required is more. So load analysis, the load time or the early distribution analysis of load is not possible in manual calculation. It can be adjusted only in PVsyst. Okay, so the one point we are missing here is the hourly distribution. What we are saying here is it is working for 18 hours, but we are not claiming which 18 hours it is working for. It might work during the sunlight hours or 8 hours, it can be same, or it might not work for the sunlight hours. So the hourly distribution is not possible in case of manual analysis. Fine. Let me clear the screen. Okay. Now, once we have got that, we just write it down. Once we have got the watt hour, the total watt hour as 9440, and once we got the total wattage as 680 watt. This is our off-grid load analysis, right? Now I am giving the first step that we are going to follow for the customers. I hope you guys can see the screen. The major components that we are going to design in case of off-grid, the major components we need to design in an off-grid manual designing are first the PV module, Next, the inverter. Third, the charge controller. Because load we have already asked from the customer, right? Fourth, the solar charge controller. Fourth, the batteries. And lastly, we need to ask the customer, is there any other source? That is, if we by any chance renewable is not working, do the customer has diesel generator? Because generally in rural areas, what happen is that customers generally do have diesel generators to provide the load in case of load shedding. So we also need to ask the customer whether the customer do have diesel generator or not, right? So components are, again I'm mentioning in the screen. One would be our PV module. How many PV modules we do require? First, as we know, the load analysis that we already did. The load analysis part we already did. Next is the PV modules. After that, we need to know the inverter. Third, we need to do the calculations for batteries. And lastly, we need to do the calculation of charge controller. Right? While doing PV system analysis, we need to ask the customer if the customer has any generator or any other auxiliary. So our concern would be generator. If the customer has generator, it might be possibilities that the battery requirement might go down. This is again not possible in manual calculation, though it is possible by doing optimization and all, but it is tough. But on the other hand, this it can be done in PV-SYST, but this for designing is possible manually. That is PV modules, inverter, batteries, and lastly the charge controller. So let's start with PV modules. First, I am going to give the steps which we are going to follow. Then we are going to follow the steps. Right? I hope everyone is on the same page. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to find the PV sizing or the PV module sizing. Fine. So the first step we are going to follow the PV module sizing is, first we need to calculate the total watt hours. We already did. We have got the total watt hours as 9440. In this case, the total watt hour calculation is already done. In the screen, we can see we have got the total watt hour as 9440 after the off-grid load analysis calculation. So once we have done the total calculation of the total watt hour, the next step is we need to calculate the watt hour per day needed for the PV module. Per day needed is very much important. So first we need to multiply the total appliance watt hours into 1.3. This is the energy loss. 30% is generally the energy loss considered for an off-grid system. That's why first we need to calculate the total, like multiply the total watt hour. The first step in case of PV sizing is total watt hour multiplied by 1.3. Again mentioning 1.3 is the loss factor. 30% loss is considered in case of a solar system. So it will be 9440 into 1.3. So 9440 into 1.3 coming as 12272. This is the total watt hour for which we need to make the design, because first we need to consider the total losses in the first case. So first we need to go ahead and check the total watt hour consumption, right? Once we are done the first step, the next step is this is the total watt hour a panel must provide for a day. Next, how to find the total capacity of PV modules. As we have already discussed in the second class, what we need to do is that we need to calculate the total watt peak of the consumption for the customer. That will only help us to find the total capacity, right? Now, how to find the watt peak? So once we have got the total watt hour, let us name this something as T1. Once we got T1, the total watt hour, that is 12272. The total watt hour we have one first, then we need to find the TWP, that is the total watt peak of modules required. Okay, so to find out the total watt peak of modules required, we need to divide T1 by 3.43. This factor we have got from CUF. In India, it is 3.43. Okay. So once we get the total capacity would be 12272 in this case, divided by 3.43. So doing the same, we are going to get the total requirement as 3578 watt peak. Once we do the division of 12272 divided by 3.43, we are going to get it as 3578 watt peak. So this is the total capacity. Now we have, let's say we have chosen one module of 325 watt peak. So we have chosen one module of Adani of 325 watt peak. So the next question is, how many number of modules should we require? So the number of modules we would be TWP divided by 325, that is capacity of each module, right? So we have chosen one module of 325, so it will be TWP, in this case 3578 divided by 325. Fine. So it is 3578 divided by 325. That will give us near about 11.09. So you can take it as 11 panels. So total we require 11 panels of 325 watt peak for this particular load. The load analysis that we have done, we would require 11 panels of 325 watt peak. Okay, as we can see, the factor is 11.0092, so we can remove it and take it as 11 panels. I hope everyone is clear till now. Arijit, please take the screenshot and share. So after doing the off-grid, first doing the roof analysis, then the off-grid load analysis, we have completed the PV sizing, which has come as 11 panels. 3.45 we have got from CUF, that is capacity utilization factor. It's a factor which NASA generally provides. We can buy this factor from NASA. NASA do a basic calculation to get the value of CUF for a particular region. So for India, the CUF value we can take as 3.43. It generally depends on the radiation. Obviously, the more radiation, like in Rajasthan, the panels, if even we take 10 panels, it might suffice, because the length of day is more in the western side of India rather than the eastern side. So if you talk about Rajasthan, Mumbai, so in such cases we can have lesser number of panels. So that factors we need to ask from the local meteo department. Local meteo department gives us this factor. Fine. Okay, so the next parameter that we can do is, first we have got the total watt hour, again writing it 9440. Next is the total wattage, we have got a 680. Now we have done the calculation for PV, 11 numbers into 325 watt peak, right? So we have completed 3 designs. So the next design that we are left, we need to do is of inverter. The next design is nothing but the inverter sizing that we need to do. As we have already told, the inverter sizing doesn't depend on the total watt hours that we have consumed. It depends on the total wattage or the total connected load of a particular off-grid system. So this has no concerns with the total watt. So from here we can see the total wattage that is connected is 680 watt. So the total wattage from here we have got is 680 watt. This is our connected load, right? This is the connected load to the system. So the inverter sizing should be for the system only, because we need to understand why inverter is so less in terms of panels. This question has come in the previous class, right? In our case the panels are 11 numbers, but the inverter is very slow. In this case, if you do the calculation, we will do a 25 to 30% oversized, considering there might be a few losses, might be a few fluctuation, and we get the inverter sizing. So the inverter sizing would be total watt into 1.30, that is 30% high. So in this case 680 into 1.30, 680 into 1.3, that is 884. Any inverter which has a capacity more than 884 watt would suffice. So it will be a 1000 watt inverter. So we would have a 1080 watt inverter, right? Because after 884, the next comes is 1000 watt. Now there are two questions. One, as it is collected on the base, like we need to do it in the base of our total wattage of connected load, we need not to do the sizing of an inverter in PVCs in case of off-grid calculation. Whenever we are doing an off-grid calculation, PVCs won't give us any option of doing an inverter designing, because it will automatically take the inverter from the connected load. Unlike the on-grid one, it won't give you a chance to do the inverter designing, right? The next question that has come, if we are talking about 11 modules of 325 watt peak, so it's near about a 3.5 kilowatt system, but the inverter we are talking about is 1000 watt or 1 kilowatt. How come? The answer is very simple. Inverter is not giving, it's not an on-grid inverter, right? So the inverter is not giving light to your load. It can only give light to your load when there is electricity. So when there is electricity, there is no need of inverter. It's just converting it. It's generally using as a direct array system. The main purpose here of the inverter is to give a charging current to the, just to give a charging current to the charge controller, which ensures that the battery is getting charged. So the PV modules, the major consumption, if you just draw it, this is our panel. From here we have our charge controller, and ultimately this charge controller is going to the batteries. Now this is our inverter if we are supplying to a AC load, and if DC load we can directly give from the battery, or in the case of night time we can connect the inverter from the battery to complete it. Now the major flow of charge would be in this direction, from inverter via charge controller to battery, because battery would be providing the charge to the inverter. Inverter is not getting direct charge from your panel, so there is no requirement. If you, even if you have don't have the AC load, inverter is not required in this system. Only in case of AC load you can use the inverter just for the conversion. There is no way it is feeding it, but in case of on-grid it was feeding it directly. So the inverter sizing should be same as the load sizing, right? Even if we go, the load sizing in on-grid inverter is the consumption, right? We also do take the inverter sizing from the load itself. That is, I would ask you to do the screen sharing of the inverter part. So from here we have done the roof analysis, the load analysis, the PV, and next the inverter. The fourth option that we need to do the calculation is of a battery. So the next calculation we need to do is of the battery, right? So let's do a battery sizing now. In off-grid, the batteries is the main thing. Reason is two. One, battery would ensure what is the backup and how much load you can run. Next, if your calculation of battery is wrong, the cost of the system might be less or more. More, if you have done it wrongly, you have consumed more battery, you won't be getting the order because your battery costing is going high compared to your competitors. On the other hand, if you have given a low cost without checking the batteries properly, the customer might not be satisfied and it might give you a bad reputation in the long run. So the battery sizing is one of the most important part of our off-grid system. So let me send the rules for the battery sizing first. Hold on. Okay, first you can see from my screen I have shown the first step we need to do is we need to find the total watt hours, which we have already done as 9440. We have got the watt hours as 9440, right? Next, we need to divide the watt hours by 85, 0.85. 0.85 is the battery loss. Because you need to understand, in this case, what we are doing is that we are converting DC, we are storing the DC to batteries, then we are converting into AC and supplying it. So that's why the load loss or the battery loss we need to consider in this case, which was not there in case of on-grid inverter. That's why on-grid inverter efficiency is more than a off-grid one. So next, what we need to do is that we need to find T1. T1 would be TWA divided by 0.85. 0.85 we have discussed as the battery loss. So in this case, 9440 divided by 0.85. This would give us 11105. Okay, this is the watt hour for which we need to do the battery designing. Okay, so first T1 is the calculation against battery loss. So we have taken the battery loss component as 0.85 and have got it, right? The next component we need to do is we need to divide the same by the battery discharge loss. Battery discharge loss T2 would be T1 divided by 0.6. Battery discharge is basically T1, the first one, divided by 0.6. So let's divide 11105 divided by 0.6 would give us 18508 watt hour. So the exact calculation or the exact battery sizing or amperage from where we need to convert watt hour to amperage would be 18508. This is for a day. Please remember, this watt hour is for a single day, only one day, right? Now we need to understand what backup we are asking for. Are we asking for 2-3 backup? Are we asking for multiple backup, or we asking for, okay, now one day is enough for us. Even if the second day is cloudy, we won't need that. So now we need to understand what battery we are selecting. Let's say battery, we can say two things about the battery. One is the ampere hour, we can say, and next is the nominal voltage. Batteries are available at 2, 6 and 12 volts. So these three can be the battery nominal voltage. No other nominal voltage is available for a battery manufacturer. Okay, we need to multiply it, do it parallel to get other battery voltages. Only manufacturers manufacture 2, 6 and 12 volt batteries. Ampere hour, here we need to consider. So first we have selected the nominal voltage of the battery as 12 volt. So the third step would be dividing the previous T3. To get T3, we need to divide T2 by the nominal voltage, that is 12 in this case. When you divide T3 with the nominal voltage, right? So 18508 will give us divided by This will give us 18508 divided by 12 is 1542. This is the ampere hour. So we have converted the ampere hour. 1542 is our ampere hour required for 1 day. I am again mentioning 1542 is the ampere hour we are getting for 1 day. Next step is very simple. If the number of days or autonomy is more, so we need to multiply with the number of days. Let us take this as 2 days. Okay, so we need to find 2 days. So 1542 into 2 will give us 3084. So the total ampere hour required for the battery is 3084 ampere hour. I hope I am clear till now. This is the total ampere hour required for the battery. I would request Arijit to take the screenshot and share. These are the steps. Again, repeating the steps. The first step is to, after getting the total watt hour for the system, we need to divide it with battery loss factor, which is 0.85. After that, we need to divide that component with battery discharge loss factor, which is 0.6. After that, we need to divide it with the nominal voltage of the battery, which we are planning to select. In this case, we have selected 12, so we need to divide it by 12. And lastly, we need to multiply, because that will give us ampere hour requirement per day for the system. So if we need multiple backup days, we just need to multiply the number of backup days with that factor. That will give us the total ampere hour or capacity of battery required. One thing we need to remember, from here we have got the calculation as C084. 3084 ampere hour battery is not at all possible. It is not at all available in the market, right? So we need to now find out how much batteries. What is the number of batteries we need to buy? So let me clear the screen. Okay. So what we are going to do is that for finding out the ampere hour, I am going to give you a very simple formula. Okay, that will ensure that you can do it in a single formula. You have to do it step by step. So the single formula for battery calculation would be the total watt hour into number of days or the days of autonomy or backup, right? Number of days backup is required. Next is the battery loss factor, that is 0.85 multiplied by 0.6, the battery discharge, into the nominal voltage in V, the nominal voltage of the battery we are selecting. This is a single step formula for getting the ampere hour. We need not to go step by step. We can go ahead and give this only, right? So from here we have got 3084, right? In the previous case we have done the same calculation. I am just showing it. If you are doing the same calculation again, it was 9440 into 2 divided by 0.85 into 0.6 into 12. That will give you this value. That is 3084. This is the total capacity, right? Now we know that we have taken a nominal voltage as 12 for a battery, and we are taking, for example, we are taking a 180 ampere hour battery, right? First we are choosing a 180 ampere hour. So what we are going to do is that we are going to divide 3084 divided by 180, coming up as, if we are dividing 3084 divided by 180, it will be coming as a 17.13. So we can tell it as roughly as 18 numbers. Being it an even, we are okay with it. If it's an even number, we are okay with it. Clear? So the number of batteries we have got here is 18 numbers, 12 volt, 180 ampere hour. This is our battery. Fine. Now the question comes whether we need to connect all the batteries in series or not. We have the nominal voltage as 12. If there is no inverter, we are not putting in any AC load. General operating low voltage of a DC load is always 12 volt. So we have no problem. We can directly connect all the batteries in series. Okay. If we are, again I'm repeating, if we are not using inverter to convert it to AC load, the operating voltage of a DC load is generally 12 volt. So whatever number of batteries we are getting, we can connect all the batteries in series. But if we have an inverter in our system, we need to check what is the voltage of an inverter. Let's say it can come in 24 volt or 48 volt, anything. So I am taking, in this case, we are getting a 24 volt 1000 watt inverter. So first we need to do the multiplication to ensure we have 24 volt. So we need to give 2 batteries to get 24 volt, right? So in this case, we will have 2 batteries in series and 9 parallel strings. So the connection would be 2 batteries in series with 9 parallel string. Clear? Arijit, please share the screen. Please take the snapshot and share it with the students. Okay, so again I'm telling, in this case our design would be 2 batteries in series and 9 in parallel, right? Let us check how does this comes. It will look like this is my positive, negative, positive, negative. Negative will go to positive and we will have the common negative. In this way, we will have positive, negative, positive, negative. We will have 9 in rows, total 9 rows, right? We have 18. For parallel, we are connecting the positive to positive in case of parallel and negative to negative in case of parallel. As only 2 are in series, you can see I have connected 2 negative to positive only. From here, I will take a common, it will come as a common positive, and here I will take a negative. This will come as a common negative, and ultimately it will go to my load. Fine. This is the battery sizing we need to do. I would again ask Arijit to do the screen sharing, snapshot. So we have done roof analysis, next the off-grid load analysis, then the PV calculation, which has come as 11 numbers 325. Next is a inverter, which might be required, might not be required. If required, total wattage into 30% higher. Only in case of AC load if we are providing, if DC not required. Next is the battery calculation, which we have used the formula total watt hour into days of autonomy divided by 0.85 into 0.6 into nominal voltage. Once we do it, we will get the total amount of batteries. If it's only DC system, we can connect all the batteries in series. We will only increase the voltage, not the current, to ensure our cable costing as low. And if we have inverter, we need to check the voltage of the inverter and need to ensure that how many series batteries we require to get the voltage of the inverter. Otherwise, the inverter won't operate. So in this case, we have considered 24 volt inverter. So we have taken 2 batteries in series, and ultimately we have got 9 parallel. 2 batteries in series and 9 parallel rows. The last part that we are left with, the charge controller, right? We are left with the charge controller part. So let me clear my screen. If we are using inverter, charge controller might not be required because most of the modern inverters above 1000 watt has inbuilt charge controller. If we don't have it, obviously we would require. Okay, so the next design we are going to do is charge controller sizing. For doing a charge controller sizing, okay, you can check for doing a charge controller sizing, we need to take the shots because we are doing charge controller is nothing but a protection device, right, for the battery. So what we need to do is that in charge controller only one thing we can design, that is the current rating of a charge controller. What is the current rating or what MCB DC fuse we can provide, that is just for putting DC fuse, MCB or MCCB, whatever you want. So what exactly we want to provide for saving the inverter, saving the battery. So the current rating would be ISC. ISC you can get from the data sheet of an inverter. We have came yesterday, we have got the ISC as 9.58. I hope everyone has remembered. So the data from data sheet I've got 9.58. So what we need to do is for finding out the current rating IR, it should be taking over of 30%. So 1.3 of the current rating or ISC that is getting from the data sheet. So it's for 9.58 multiplied by 1.3 would give you 12.45. So above 12 we have only 16 amps fuse or MCB. So 16 amp would be the current rating of the charge controller. Another thing you can tell whether we should use PWM or MPPT, right? Because we have discussed about PWM and MPPT, so we can only say what we want to use. MPPT is a better one, so we are choosing MPPT. So our charge controller is MPPT with 16 ampere rating. Fine. Aditya, I would ask you to take the snapshot, please. I'm again repeating. First was the roof analysis, next was the off-grid load analysis, followed by PV, system sizing, inverter sizing, battery connection method, like we need to do it in series or parallel, and lastly is charge controller type, MPPT or PWM, and the rating. What rating we need to take, what amperage rating we need to take for the charge controller. Fine. Just a brief that whenever we are going to go for the PVC system design, we need to put the load analysis, roof analysis obviously in the orientation part. We are going to give the roof analysis in the orientation part. We need to put the load analysis. There is a load analysis column with the hourly distribution. This would be a new thing that would be coming in case of PV systems, right? So hourly distribution of load with the load analysis. Next is the system. In case of system, we can only give two inputs. One is the PV and next is the battery. Inverter will be automatically taken, and in case of charge controller, we can only select whether we are choosing a PWM one or a MPPT one. This is the only selection we would be allowed to give, because other ratings would be automatically taken by PV systems. Lastly, it will ask us if the customer has a generator or not. It's also a new thing that we haven't done in the calculation part, right? So in PVCs, first we need to give the roof analysis in the orientation part. Next, the load analysis, the load, only the load calculation, we need to feed in the load, how many hours, what is the number, what is the wattage, and we need to fix the hourly distribution. Hourly distribution is nothing. If we are talking about 18 hours a load, we need to give which 18 hours from midnight till the next midnight. What 18 hours from midnight till the next midnight, right? So this is only we need to give in the hourly distribution. Next, in the system part, we can only do PV and battery, and charge controller we can only select PWM and MPPT. rest PVC is smart enough to take the inverter and the charge controller amperage rating. PVC also gives us an option where we can put in, if the customer has a generator, we can put in just to ensure the optimum calculation of the batteries. Fine. So in the previous case, if we are talking, we have already just giving a brief of the BOM. Arnab, I will get back to your question. Just let me complete the BOM first. So if you are going by the BOM of off-grid system, first we will have PV modules. In this case, we have got 325 watt peak modules, 11 numbers, right? Next is inverter. We need to mention it's an off-grid inverter of 1000 watt, 24 volt. Next, we need to take batteries for backup calculation. We have taken 12 volt 180 ampere hour battery into 18 numbers. For the BOM part, we need not to write what is series and parallel, right? So this is only the thing. Next is charge controller. Here we have taken MPPT with the current ampere rating of 16 amps. Followed by others would be same, AJB, the array junction box, and the ACDB. That is the AC distribution box. It is only required for AC loads. If not, it won't be required. Again repeating, ACDB will be only required for AC loads if you have, otherwise it won't. Same case of inverter. Inverter would only be required in case of AC loads, otherwise won't. AJB is the protection device that we have already discussed. It has IP65 box, followed by SPD, DC SPD and fuse. Fuse for current protection, DC SPD for voltage protection, and cables for interconnection, and DIN rails just for the mounting purpose, right? DIN rail is for mounting purpose. Other things would be same as cables, DC cables, AC cable if you have AC, otherwise not required, LA, lighting arrestor, and earthing kit. Earthing kit is basically the electrode, earth electrode plus the pit cover. This is the basic BOM of a off-grid system, right? I would ask Karijit to kindly share the screen. Kindly take a snapshot of the screen and give it to the group. So in this class, we have discussed how to design a system manually, off-grid system manually, starting from roof analysis, load analysis, PV system sizing, inverter sizing, battery sizing, and battery connection method with charge controller sizing, right? Okay. So now if you guys have any question, we can do a Q&A round for 5 minutes, and then we can start up with the same design in our PV syst, right?
In today's class, we have already learned about the designing parameters of an off-grid system along with preparation of its BOM. So the BOM of off-grid system is more or less same as an on-grid. Only two components are getting added. One is your battery and one is your solar charge controller. These two parameters will only get added with the old BOM of the previous on-grid system. Inverter might vary. If you are using a DC load, you might not require an inverter. If you are using an AC load, you might require an inverter. But in this case, the specification of the inverter will be a off-grid inverter. So the diagram you are seeing on the screen is basically a typical layout of a solar home system, which is one of the pattern of the off-grid systems containing of solar modules, followed by charge controller connected to a battery for DC load. And from battery, you can directly connect to the DC load, or you can connect it to a AC load via inverter. So these are the basic components which have been shown, except that we have already discussed in the BOM There are other components like cables for interconnection or protection systems like earthing, lightning arrestor, so on and so forth. If we go to the micro level, we have number ferrules and etc., which we have already discussed in the BOM of the on-grid system. On the battery part, how basically a battery, what are the different connections of the battery, how to maintain the types of battery and the specific gravity, how to calculate it. We are going to discuss it in the advanced renewable energy training course, which will start from 1st of February 2022, right? So in that course we are going to go through each and every details, but this is only for the designing part, so we are concentrating only on the designing part. So thank you for today's class. For our efforts, we would like you to like, share and subscribe and hit on the bell icon for further updates. Share this video to as much as possible to all your friends, colleagues, so that the more people can be benefited from this video. In the tomorrow's class, we are going to learn how to do the PVSys design of an off-grid system through the software. Okay? Thank you, class.